Dominic Carter, Red Apple Podcasts, Talk Radio 77, WABC. 4. I said, folks, 4 major shootings in the U.S. over the Easter weekend. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul says despite the COVID surge, she is not shutting down New York again. This is my podcast. Let's go. New Yorkers are still terrified over the subway shooting. A number of innocent people shot and injured. Suspect Frank James is being held without bail, charged federally, ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. This guy drifted from city to city. His criminal rap sheet includes 9 arrests in New York City, 3 in New Jersey. I'm not going to pay too much attention to his social media rants, but I want you to listen to a little. First, he says he wanted to watch people die in front of him, but he didn't want to go to prison.
This is why it's important to think about what you're going to do before you do it. Let's not forget, I've been through a lot of where I can say I wanted to kill people. I wanted to watch people die right in front of my face immediately. But I thought about the fact that, hey man, I don't want to go to no prison. That. You know, when I was younger, I'd be like, hey man, I'm not built for no prison. I'm just not.
Well, Mr. James, that's exactly where you are now, locked up and headed to prison. He also had this warning, if you will, for New York City Mayor Eric Adams, that the mayor's agenda to bring back New York will not work.
So it's going to be some over in New York. Just don't know when it's going to be and how it's going to manifest itself. But he's in for a bumpy ride. He's the second black mayor, because you did have David Dinkins, but you never had a black mayor and a black police commissioner all at the same time, and a black state attorney general. And we're going to see how that works out.
Sadly, if the Brooklyn subway shooting wasn't enough to rack your nerves, it was a rough Easter weekend throughout America. Mass shootings in South Carolina, not 1 but 2 hours apart. One at a nightclub and at a mall in the state capital of Columbia. The ages of the victims ranged from 15 to 73. Then there was another Easter weekend shooting in Pittsburgh, a party at an Airbnb rental property in which 2 minors were killed, also left at least 31 people wounded. Prior to all of that, please keep in mind the gang shootout in Sacramento, which killed 6 and wounded 12 more. It's frightening. It really is frightening that we are becoming numb to all of these attacks. Why is this happening? Please don't tell me the COVID restrictions. That drives me crazy. The COVID lockdown is why this is happening. No, these things are happening because of the so-called wokeness throughout the country and the nonstop attacks on the police. Of course, there needs to be tighter gun control. But if nothing else, New York City proves you can have the tightest of gun controls. If laws are laxed elsewhere, the bad guys purchase the guns there and then transport them or ship them somehow to New York City. And then there are also the ghost guns that you can order kits online. That's what President Biden is trying to crack down on. I'm an optimist, but unfortunately, I don't see this having much of an impact on the gun situation. Maybe this is a sign of the times for the country. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she will not shut down New York as COVID cases spike. The governor appeared on the Cats Roundtable on 77 WABC with the station's owner and operator, John Catsimatidis.
You know how much I love New York. This 66 million tourists we had, I hope we get back at least half of them next year.
They're coming. A lot of it was restrictions on international travel because of COVID. And you see, I mean, really the cases in places like China and other communities, it is coming back. I hate to say that. And I said as governor, I'm going to protect the health of New Yorkers, but I'm also protecting the economy. I'm not going to shut it down again. You can count on that. But we are seeing an increase in cases, and people are getting anxious, and that might affect whether people come at this time. But they will not stay away because of the crime issue. We're going to lean hard in this. I'm working with the mayor. We now have relationships with the mayor's office that didn't exist for a decade. So we roll up our sleeves. We work with our law enforcement. We make sure we get the job done while protecting the rights of individuals, which is very important to us as well.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul on 77 WABC with the station's owner and operator, John Catsimatidis. Let's go full circle, returning to the issue of guns. Here is what Governor Hochul of New York told John Catsimatidis.
What are we going to do to keep New York City people and the people of the state of New York safe from criminals?
Well, John, I think about that all the time. In fact, I was on media shows in the fall talking about how I plan to use the budget as the vehicle to address public safety. Even back then, when COVID was the number one concern, I knew that the crime was creeping up, that we needed a thoughtful approach, and we couldn't ignore it. So starting in January, I went with Mayor Adams, his first week on the job. We went into the subways. We talked about how we have to deal with the homelessness issue, mental health, but also, making sure that people feel safe there, or else they will not come back to the city. They will not go to their jobs as long as they have that insecurity. Then a couple weeks later, I realized that so many illegal guns are coming from other states. We don't make them here. They're coming from elsewhere. So I convened 9 states. Now, John, this has never happened anywhere in the country. I brought together 9 governors and the mayor of New York City with the NYPD and the Boston PD and said, I need you all hands on deck to have the first ever gun interdiction task force so we can share intelligence, information that had never been shared before about where the guns are coming from, where they're going, and we've arrested, hundreds of people, have confiscated thousands of guns, and that's just getting started. That's even before I took this issue on in the budget.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul on 77 WABC with John Catsimatidis. And if all of this is not enough to chew on, I pray for the people of Ukraine and that the U.S. will not be pulled into this war. President Zelensky of Ukraine is warning that the world should prepare for Putin to use nuclear weapons in his invasion of Ukraine. The war in Ukraine could soon enter a new, even more dangerous phase. Russia has warned of, quote, unpredictable consequences to America if the U.S. continues supplying weapons to Ukraine. Folks, if you are interested in my book on my life, growing up in New York City and overcoming numerous obstacles, you can go to my website, the book website, nomamasboy.com, nomamasboy.com. You can catch me on 77 WABC weeknights, midnight to 1 a.m., and you can listen to the show online as well at WABCradio.com. You can send me emails at dominic.carter@wabcradio.com. Also, go check out the Dominic Carter merchandise at the 77 WABC store, from Dominic Carter t-shirts to hats and much more. Go to WABCradiostore.com, WABCradiostore.com. I will see you the next time right here. Dominic Carter Red Apple Podcast, 77 WABC.